Hi, I'm Scott, and I'm an audiophile. Welcome to Modify. Eek, is it me, or does that sound like someone's introduction at an AA meeting or something? Okay, right. This is a new channel dedicated to obtaining high-end audio performance on a tighter budget for less outlay. Fewer of your pounds, euros, dollars, yen, whatever. High-end audio kits can be pretty expensive to, well, ludicrously expensive. But if you know what you're doing, you can build a very good high-end system on a tighter budget. Most audiophiles start with a budget to mid-price system and gradually over time build it into something better and better and better. They get hooked. I'm no exception. I did the same and I'm still on that journey. I think I've got a ways to go to audio nirvana yet though. Okay, I guess I've been an audiophile for some time now. I got into music early and started building electronic projects in my early teens. My first audio build was an amplifier kit from a company called RTVC. It was fun, and I guess I got hooked. Maybe 2 or 3 years later, I got my first mainstream system, Sanyo 220, I think. And from there, I started buying hi-fi magazines and learning more. When I was a student, I had a part-time job in a hi-fi shop in first year. So I got the chance to hear a wider variety of equipment. I listened more, started building my own real hi-fi system. It had a Michelle Focus 1 turntable, a Cyrus 1 amplifier, and Mission 70 speakers. There. So I've been listening and tinkering for some time. My current system is a mix of kit from higher-end manufacturers and that I've designed myself. For example, my preamp over here. Do I have golden ears? Maybe, but at least they're not wooden. I can quite clearly hear the difference between quality kit and the mediocre. Or, in fact, I love the unfolding subtleties as I audition electronic components choices for equipment upgrades and things like that. So Modify is my brainwave for merging my audiophile side on the one hand with my computing and electronic engineering side on the other. I plan to produce content that may be useful to other audiophiles and DIY audio enthusiasts, and maybe in time products too. That content is likely to be quite widespread, from comment, hints, tips, and mini reviews through to step-by-step sound quality upgrades. If you look at the website at maudifi.uk, you'll see early signs of that. There's not much there at the moment, but hopefully I'll get the time to add more content. My head is bursting with ideas for this channel and the website. So what can you expect? Well, recently I've been playing with DACs. There's a bit of a story here. At the moment, I guess I'm lucky in that my study office space, well, it's here. It's in the corner of my listening room. So I get to hear decent music replay when I'm not concentrating on those tougher problems. And when I'm doing run-of-the-mill tasks, I tend to have streaming radio on. But I find the sound a bit tiring and maybe grating. Now most of that is probably due to the lossy codecs used and the low bit rates. Planet Rock is only 112K, for example. Also, until now, I've been mostly interested in vinyl and CD, and I've never really invested in a decent separate DAC, which doesn't help any. So, getting back to the point, and I'll do a separate video on this, but as an intro, in the last 3 weeks, I've bought a good used high-end DAC. It's a Musical Fidelity Tri-Vista 21. It's back there. And I bought this. This is an Allo US bridge signature. That's the lower board, bigger board down the bottom here. And an Allo DigiOne Signature, this top interface there. That's an SPDIF I/O output card for a Raspberry Pi. Also in here, the small card here, I'll turn it around so you can see. Also in here is the small Raspberry Pi compute module. let's just say this combination is a bit good. If you're not familiar with this, it's worth looking at John Darko's video on the DigiOne Signature. It does a review and a summary of Raspberry Pi streaming. I'll pop a link to that in the top corner there. So this US Bridge is an audio-specific computer board with, if I remember correctly, over 30 low dropout voltage regulators throughout for the various sub-circuits and interfaces. On the interface front, we have HDMI, we got USB, Ethernet, a couple more USBs back here. Allo have designed it that way to keep all the noisy stuff away from the more sensitive audio-related parts. In particular, if you have a USB DAC, which connects here, that's USB connector there is separate from all the others with its own separate power supply. Much cleaner. It's the right way to do it. The DigiOne Signature is a two-board set with a dirty board down at the bottom here, which isolates the Raspberry Pi's GPIO interface with the digital audio circuits on what Allo call the clean board up top. As you can see on here, we have two coax outputs. We got RCA phono and a BNC on there as well. More interestingly, this also has a separate clean power supply input. If I bring that in closer, there we go. You can see that just there. So that the most sensitive parts of the circuit can be fed purer power. Now, so far, I've been using this with a lithium-ion battery pack. Allo sell these on their website. And you can't get a purer DC source than batteries, after all. So my next experiment with this will be with the power supply based on the Walt Young Jan Didden super regulator circuit. I've got the PCB here. I had most of the components in stock, but there were a couple of the things I didn't have, so I've ordered those. They should be coming soon. Actually, as an aside, on that same order, I ordered a bunch of components for some upcoming power amplifier builds. More on that in a later video, though. I'll do a video on the power supply for the DigiOne Signature, giving my opinion on the super regulator-based circuit versus the pure battery power. I'm also planning a decent-looking enclosure for this too. I'm not a huge fan of the really small boxes that typically surround streamers based on the Raspberry Pi. So I'll be designing my own for that. Something more suited to what's going on over here, the sort of kit I have. There are a couple of routes here, depending on what I decide to do, what I decide to include in the box. And yeah, I'll capture all of that in probably a series of videos. On top of that, although a high-level performer in its day and still sounding great now, I feel I can squeeze quite a bit more out of the Tri-Vista 21 DAC. Now this has an over-spec'd power supply with massive chokes. The whole thing weighs over 13 kilos. And it has a valve, tube, or tube, however you prefer to pronounce that, output stage. It looks like it has a lot of lower quality general purpose components in there. So with some magic pixie dust, or, well, electronics know-how and experience and some decent quality components, it should be possible to improve the performance quite a bit. I'm looking forward to that. If you're interested in builds like that, please subscribe, and you'll be kept up to date whenever I post that content. So we have the makings of a couple of decent-sized projects to be covered in separate video series here. And the power amplifier builds I mentioned. Then there will be content on the Cambridge Audio Azur 3 series. So that includes the 340, the 350A, and the 351A. You might ask, what's an entry-level budget integrated amp got to do with high-end audio? Well, it was well reviewed as a budget-level amplifier in its day. Although in stock form, I find it cold, flat, and completely uninspiring, really, to listen to. It's got that in-the-box sound. Anyway, I've tinkered with these on and off over the last few years, and I can tell you it can be transformed into something completely different. Something with the restrictions removed, give you more detail, more transparency, improved separation between each instrument, and a vastly increased soundstage. It's, the outside of the... Is it proper high-end then? Nope. But it's a good deal closer than many more expensive amplifiers, and it's cheap. Partnered with a good source and speakers, it's an enjoyable listen. I was surprised how well this actually turned out, and I still use one myself in a secondary system. Whenever I've let others listen to it, they can't believe the sound produced. One of them was so keen, he bought my prototype to replace his Quad 44-404 combo. Earlier this year, I wrote an upgrade manual for the Azur 340A. This one is for the V1, and I'll have versions for the V2, the SE, the 350A, and the 351A variants in time. It has step-by-step instructions, details, diagrams. We've got before and after photographs to help the constructor know what they're doing there. Drop me a line if you're interested in this or any of the variants. If there's demand, then that'll inspire me to get them produced sooner, and I can make them available with a kit of parts in an online shop. I'm in danger of spilling too many beans too soon here, and I'm probably committing myself to more work than I have time for, alongside my consulting and family time. But let's see how it goes. If this is the sort of thing that interests you, you may be interested in a more realistic, value-led approach to high-end audio, or you're interested in anything audiophile or hi-fi upgrades or upcycling, please subscribe to the channel. The usual link down here and the notification bell. Then you'll be kept up to date as I post new content. I hope you've enjoyed this introduction to Maudifi, and I'll see you next time. Bye.